Hello, I'm Brian Little and this is Heart of the Holte. I hear fans, saying, oh, he doesn't care, he hasn't got the club. When you're the manager, you care about absolutely everybody, everything. It's unforgiving.
I'm going to take you to that League Cup final now, and a lot of people, when they talk about that League Cup final, talk about that Savo Milosevic goal. But what are your overriding memories of that day?
Well, I've already mentioned I like motorbikes, and we stayed the wrong end of London, and I'd organised a police motorbike escort with 3 police, and they were giving me some right grief. They said, "What are you doing getting us all the way over here? You're never going to get to London, to the Wembley in time." I'm going, "Of course you will. I love motorbikes." And I was sitting on the bikes with them in the morning and all sorts, having a good bit of banter, got on great with the 3 lads who were the motorcyclists. So that, it sounds silly this, but that was every bit as much fun to me. The police escort through London. And when we got to Wembley, the police guys took the helmets up, and I could just see big smiles on their face. Now, if you've ever ridden a motorbike, I've ridden motorbikes most of my life. Not supposed to have done, but I have done. And whenever you've had a good ride, you take your hat off, you got a grin this big. I mean, it's a great feeling. Motorbike's a great release. And I knew they'd loved it. And there was a brilliant start to the day. So my first little thing had worked. I'd had a police escort with 3 bikes all the way from one end of London to the other. Everything on the day, I just had a feeling it was right. We just had a feeling all week we were right. There was talk about, Howard had asked somebody to just call in the hotel to see what was going on, how our preparations were going, and whoever, if that was true, they'd have just said all they're doing is enjoying themselves. They're having, we had a great bunch. I mean, do you know what? I've had good football teams. I've had a few bad football teams in my time. But when you've got a good football team, the atmosphere is incredible. I have to say, however, even when I played football, we had some good laughs. I mean, me, Gidman, Andy Gray, and all that. We had some great times. But that team that year, it had the most incredible togetherness atmosphere, led by a Taylor, Draper and Johnson, who were the 3.
Was that a great
side? But then you had the Townsend who it's hard to describe Andy, because he is the driest person out, but he's, he used to have them in stitches, and he was a leader. Then he could be a leader out on the pitch. You have Bosnich, who everybody used to laugh at because he was daft as a brush, he was funny. And then you have Yorkie, who was Yorkie. But there was the characters were just incredible, and the spirit was just immense, Then you have me, who was Mr. Serious, believe it or not, which I found but I did turn into Mr. Serious. You had Alan, who was Mr. Organised, JG, who was, again, just one of the lads, while when he was my assistant, he was, he was you look after the lads, Grego, and he was brilliant with them. It was an incredible group to work with. So, I loved them. They were a brilliant group, and I still watch that Squaddies video and things like that every now and again. I can't help it. It's great fun. So, it's a great memory. That first year was fantastic. Wembley was brilliant. Savo's goal was magnificent. It was the easiest. I mean, you can win a game 3-0 and you can go home and analyse and go, 3 chances, 3 goals. But it's flattered you. But we battered them. We battered them. It was a great day.
Even better.
Brilliant day.
We spoke a bit off camera about the fact that you go and just talk to anybody. You're well known as being one of the true gentlemen of the game. And I read a story about the celebrations after winning the League Cup, that you, when your team was celebrating in the hotel, you left the celebrations to go and take pizza to your children in the hotel room and have a little celebration with them. I just wanted to know if the story was true, and was family really like the most important thing to you, aside from football anyway?
I think family always have. I sadly have had 2 families, so the first one broke up, but that was pretty much football again, and the pressure of football. But I've 5 children, and I love my kids. They are more important to me than anything else. But at the same time, I'm not I'm not a party animal. I've never,
No.
even as a football player, although, you know, I mean, I had a few nights. Me and Giddy had a few wild nights when we were really young. But I soon got out of that, you know. I've probably been in a nightclub once in my entire life, whereas, you know, when people looked at me as a footballer, they'd go, I bet he's out tonight.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. For me, whatever the occasion, if it's absolutely perfect, I find it very difficult to release that type of emotion. I enjoy it while it's happening, but then I come back down to earth very quickly. Me, I'm one of them people. I don't know why, but I just am. I'm one of those type of people. When I played football, if it happened, it happened. When I'm a manager, when it happened, I come down very quickly. I relax and start thinking and looking, and I'm always looking around me, always thinking about what's going on there, and always aware of lots of things. But basically, I look out for people as well to try and help them. You know, because sometimes when people get a bit carried away, then they need someone to calm them down. And believe it or not, I've always been that sort of a person, although people would probably not have believed that when I was younger. But yes, I did. Going back to the Wembley celebration, it was great to see the lads relaxing and enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm not a party animal, never have been.
We've spoken about your really successful first season in charge, and you had a successful second season in charge as well. But because your first season was so successful, did you find it hard to then match that going forward?
Yeah, I think the next year when we went into the European scene, that opened up a new door, and that didn't work overly well.
Mm.
I think, you know, football was beginning to change there again, you know, and I'm not sure I was ready for that. I was very cemented in having a smaller group, working with a group, and most of my players were, you know, we generally had 18, 19 players who were part of it. Then people were saying, oh, if you know you're going into Europe, you need a bigger squad, you need this, you now need to do that, you need to be thinking ahead. And I never really was too ready for that. But, you know, we still finished fifth in the Premier League. But it was a disappointment. Was it a disappointment? I don't know if it was. I mean, I think before each season has started as a manager, you'd look at it honestly and say, where do you think we can get to? And I think even the Premier Leagues them days, you would look at it and say, if we can get in the top six, that's just a good team. If you get in the top six of the Premier League, you are a good team. So I guess despite not winning the cup or, you know, getting to a final, I still think it's a good achievement.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and was it a disappointment? It was a little bit. It was, you know, because I probably would have wanted to have done better in the European competition.
Although you did better
the year
season
after.
afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, I got the European thing right the other way the next time round. But certainly that second season, I still think, you know, if 2 full seasons at Aston Villa, even if it was in today's market, you could finish 4th and 5th in the Premier League. You're going to be absolutely chuffed to bits. So I think in that respect, I can sit back with some satisfaction and say, look, we were okay, we did okay. We could have done better though.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Genuinely could have done better.
You've talked a little bit about John Gregory, and you had succeeded by him after you left Villa. How much do you think he learned from you when he was under your tutelage at Villa and Leicester, and how well do you think he did as Villa boss?
Well, I like Grego. He's one of my mates. I mean, we still keep in touch. Every now and again I get a silly text off him. He's got a real daft side to him. He was different to me, and I was gutted when he came to me and said, look, I want to be a manager. But I have to say this now, and I said all along to John and Alan, you know, you've got to want to be a manager someday. Yeah. I think, you know, it'd be foolish if you didn't want to be a manager. John had been a manager prior to him going to work with me at Leicester. He was at Portsmouth and had a bad spell there. No, I've got so much time for Gregor. What he learned, I think he still calls me Gaffer today. I mean, he can't. But I think that's him just messing around with me. You know? He has this real great sense of humour. He is a remarkable lad. I think we got very close to each other, and I was gutted when he left, but I was delighted when he came back. We had a great mix, you know. Alan, myself, and John, three completely different characters, but you know the mix was perfect. I was when I left. If there was anyone to take over, I mean, in fairness, Mr. Ellis had said to me, you know, well, we'll bring John back, and I said, well, look, John wants to be a football manager, and at the time when I did leave, I was tired. I had a lot of things going on in my life, you know, that pressure side had probably just got to me a little bit, and I'd had, what would that be? That would be 3, 6, 8, nearly 9 years of I don't think I'd had a holiday. I don't think I'd had a family holiday in 9 years. I was just a workaholic. I'd become a workaholic, and I didn't want to. I could have moved to the side and let John come in, but I didn't want to be sitting there over his shoulder, sort of telling him what to do. And I just felt a bit tired, and I knew the time was right for me to move on. I'm that type of a person. I don't overstay my welcome. Anyway, you know, if it's not right, I'd just knock on someone's door, shake their hand and say, look, time for me to move on. And it was a big decision here, a hard decision for me. But I knew, and I speak to, obviously Ian Taylor and I are really good friends now. Fernando Nelson, who was here at the weekend. Fernando, who I've not seen since, when I left, I haven't seen since. And he came to me and went, you were very tired then, you were very tired, you were not yourself. And I said, yeah, you're right, you know. So I think the players could see it, and I could see within myself. So it was time for someone new. And John, I'm delighted he was given a chance, because it was a big shout bringing him from Wycombe. But he knew the club, he knew the way that I'd worked. Yeah. I think people who knew me that at my best I was probably the right person for it. Yeah. So John was obviously the next best thing. But I think he was flattered. Obviously, he was flattered because he was at Wycombe. Yeah. But I think he did a great job. I mean, he was quite flamboyant. Is that the right? So he's very vocal and different to me. But that was John being himself, and that's what he had to be. He couldn't try and be me, just like me following Ron. He had to be himself, and he was. And no, he did a fine job. He brought some good players in here. Yeah. Made them very competitive. So I was delighted for him. I mean, we just still keep in touch today. We're always messaging each other every now and again. Him especially with little jokes just to make me laugh, which is good.
So the final question for our chat on your managerial career: who do you believe was the best player that you managed at Aston Villa? Or is there not one? Is there a
well, there's a difference between favourite and probably. Okay. Without a doubt, Southgate was my best signing. Okay. Like, you can't. I mean, you know, he came in here from Palace, went to centre back, and just was a big key, a massive piece in that jigsaw. Didn't realise that when we bought him, as you say, as a midfield player. He could play different positions. I was aware of that, but Southgate was he just. If I sat here and said I taught Gareth Southgate how to play middle centre back, I just put him there one day, and I remember just looking at John and Alan, we just going, oh, that's nice. He just somehow, he was one of them players who, when there was danger, he was there. One of those people who did things simply. Was a great person, great professional. You didn't have to worry about a thing with him. So he definitely was my best signing, without a doubt. But Yorkie obviously was my favourite. I mean, Yorkie's my favourite because I like to talk to Dwight about I was a midfield player when I first came in. I used to get stuck out on the wing and all sorts of things, and then Frank Upton, when I was a youth coach after 2 years, stuck me up top. And within no time at all, I was in the first team. And I just saw Dwight up top at Leeds that day, and I'll never forget that game. We lost the game. but he was immense, and I knew I'd found. So Yorkie was my favourite because there was some similarity. He wasn't the same sort of player as me, but I just saw things in him that I really. I used to talk to him all the time, just little words. Remember what you did last week? Well, this player's different, so don't do the same thing. You've got to just play differently again. And I used to talk to him about little things that I thought about myself as a player. So Dwight was genuinely my favourite. But I can't get away from Taylor Draper and Tommy Johnson as just being the greatest act I've ever seen in the dressing room. They were brilliant, and still today are brilliant. I mean, I still see Tommy. I obviously see Ian. I occasionally bump into Drapes. I've seen him at a couple of club golf do's. But that group were brilliant. But there are certain things there just make, if I think of the three lads, they just make me smile. I just almost laugh as well, because some of the things, you know, they just used to sit there, and Draper with his incredible laugh. I mean, you gotta love him, haven't you? Who thought Barcelona was in the Italian league? You gotta love Drapes, haven't you? I mean, I still never forget that when someone said to him, "Where would you like to play?" "I'd love to play in Italy, yeah, for Barcelona." "You go on, Draper, please." Come on. He's just an absolute fool. He's the funniest lad ever. So I love them. So it's a hard one to answer because I have so many.
Yeah.
I like them all, but individually, got to go Southgate, got to go Dwight, and then the three boys who were brilliant for me in the dressing room.
Excellent. Right, thank you very much.
Oh, it's a pleasure.